What up? What up? What up? It's your man's Wealth with Dell, man. Listen, we got to, you know how we do it, man. We got to take it back to the basics. I'm about to get into some of the basics because this is the start of understanding wealth. Like, so we talk a lot about building wealth, but if you don't understand how money works, then all the other stuff, it's a wash, it's a loss because you got to understand the system. And once you understand the system, you'll understand how all of this works. So we're going to talk about debt and loans and stuff today, right? We're gonna talk about some of the things in the banking system and stuff like that, right? So debt or loans, right? So check it out. You got secured and unsecured debt. Now, there's the main difference between it is secured debt is something that if you default, they can come get it, right? And then you got unsecured debt. They have nothing tied to it. So they just really trusting you. And when it comes to levels of credit and acquiring things, unsecured means you've gotten yourself in a position where you're extremely trustworthy. Some of the things on the secured side, they got something that can back them where they can recoup their money. So those things are a little bit easier to obtain, but more importantly, you got to understand the system of how the banks work, right? And that's what this is really about. So you got secured debt. Here's some of the secured debt, right? When you buy a house, even though it's a big purchase, it's a secured debt. And what that basically means is we gave him $200,000 for this house. And if this person does not pay for this house, we can take it back. And based on the current markets and stuff, we think we can get our $200,000 back, right? So they didn't have to put an extreme amount of trust in you because they can get their money back, right? Same thing on the car loan. You see them throwing out car loans all the time, right? Because they can come get the vehicle and recoup some of their money, right? So they feel very comfortable loaning on a car. A HELOC, that's a home equity line of credit. That's another secured line of credit. Basically, if you got a house and you have equity in that house, they're willing to give you money towards the equity in the house, but up to a certain percent. The reason they do that is because it's very protected. So say you got $80,000 in equity in your house, meaning basically you owe 120 and the house is worth 200. You got $80,000 worth of equity. What they'll do is they may say, well, we'll give you $55,000. That's because they know if we can take the house back, we can sell it, we can get our money out of it. So that's how that works with the HELOCs. Then you got unsecured debt, right? LOC, that's a line of credit, right? Line of credits are great because it's capital that just sits there just in case of emergency. Doesn't accrue any interest. It's just available. They've said, hey, you're a good person. We know you pay your stuff. We've looked at your credit report. Your income looks good. Here's $20,000 if you ever need it. And you can pull it whenever you feel like it. You could take five, you could take one, you could take $500. We're going to put this out there for you because we trust you, right? Unsecured credit, right? Credit cards are unsecured credit. A lot of times people they get a card and they're like, oh, I got a credit card, but it's only $300, right? Because it's unsecured credit. They're not that comfortable trusting you with $3, $4, $5, or $10,000. So that's why it was, $300, $400 credit card, $500 credit card. It's unsecured credit. They have no way to recoup the money that you can use. Personal loans. That's also unsecured debt, right? So basically they're saying, hey, you're a good person. You got a good history with us. We look like you're going to pay us back. Here's the cash. And if you don't pay us back, we don't really have any recourse but to put it on your credit report and things like that. So this is how debt breaks down, right? You got secured and unsecured. And with secured debt, like I say, they have something tangible, something they can go after if you don't pay it. And then you have unsecured. They don't have anything. So the most important thing is all these are great forms of debt, but this one really lets you know where you are. Once you start getting unsecured debt, in the higher levels, like when before they offer you a credit card for $20,000, you're gonna have to perform. You're gonna have to either make a lot of income and have great credit. They're gonna have to see something substantial to say, yeah, we'll give them a $20,000 credit card. Because if you burn up the 20 grand and don't pay them, they have nothing to go after. So we're gonna get a lot more into the basics, guys. You know what I mean? Because we talk a lot about building wealth, but if you got to understand the system of how money works in this country. So it's your boy Wealth with Dale. Be well, be wealthy. I'm out.